Gotta elevate through the challenges. Might bend, but baby, you won't break. It's okay to make all your mistakes.
Hi, welcome to another episode of Dare to Evolve, a sanctuary of genuine connections and heartfelt dialogue. I am your host, Valerie, and this evening I am honored to be sharing this platform where we'll be tackling the topic of daring to evolve your spiritual life. And it gives me again great honor to share this with a long time school friend,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Castel Abraham.
Hi.
So Castel,
What
introduce yourself. How you doing?
Ooh, I chilling. Well, chilling in here, but outside is hot. But I'm good. My name is Castel Abraham, husband to one wife, father to one child. What is? I always have a hard time introducing myself because it's kind of weird to talk about yourself. But I'm a weirdo from Top Road St. James. I own a company called GRH Abraham and I co-own a real estate company with my wife. Besides that, my daughter is very troublesome and yeah,
The reality of life, right?
it is what it is. She's 7 and she thinks she's the boss.
She is the boss.
No.
And it's only the beginning, Castel.
No, I remind her, I am from St. James and I have a Levi's brown leather belt.
We got it from Levi's, what was on that top road.
Yeah,
Levi's,
but
you got it from right there?
some people would say it was in Marigot, after Allen Shop is Marigot.
Okay.
So,
You know what?
yeah.
I'll stick to French Quarter.
Yeah.
Gabon, Pumu, St. George's.
Yeah,
But yeah.
the Republic.
Some things never change. I mean, people might be asking, but they're too well comfortable. Been to school together.
You see, we know each other from since 1998,
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you just give out our age?
Listen, I said since we know each other now when we born.
So this, like I said, I'm grateful on this new journey of creating a platform where we can be ourselves.
Félicitations.
And thank you very much. And I was, searching for whom I will have on the platform. And something that stuck with me is that you are someone that has always been what you see is what you get.
It is
So
so.
I would not expect an intro no different than what you just did.
That is true.
So, and also, you also walked a life that has always been an inspiration to a lot of us that been to school with you.
Mm-hmm.
And today we get an opportunity to go in depth about that. So, like I said, the conversation is about daring to evolve your spiritual life.
Yes.
First of all, when you hear spirituality or spiritual life, what does that mean for you?
So you see, a few years ago, when I would have heard that, I would have been thinking only on, God and the God of the Bible and that type of thing. But as I've grown, spiritual goes way beyond that. And when I mean beyond, I just don't mean like beyond God. It means that what we see with our eyes, there's so much more that happens in the spiritual realm, both good and bad. We tend to want to box it into one thing, but you can't. Because even people who do, for example, witchcraft, that is spiritual. For them, it is something normal. It's whatever, they give their own reasoning. But that also is spiritual. So when you're talking with people about spirituality, you have to cover everything. From left to right, both extremes, and everything else in the middle.
But for someone that has been definitely all your life growing up very much close to church and continue this journey that you guys are on.
Yeah.
How do you which when you talk about spirituality or spiritual life, which would be the first thing that you would love to tackle then, or you would love for us to discuss?
Oh, I would tell people, when you're dealing with spirituality, what is your foundation? Where are you going from? Because some people tell you, well, my spiritual life is founded in God. Then I would ask, which one? And that's just to tackle people on purpose, because we can make gods out of anything. So my foundation for spirituality would always be who I would call the one true God, the God of the Bible. And then I would build from there. Because now we got to deal with Jesus Christ, then we got to deal with the Holy Spirit. Jesus was here in person, but he's also part of the Godhead. Now, he busts off checking, hey, feathers are gone. I'm going to come back later, but I'm going to leave y'all with the Holy Spirit. We don't see the Holy Spirit, but we know he's here. And then I would go down in deeper.
So now I want you to go deeper into your example in life that at a given time when you have to be more rooted and grounded in that spiritual life, and why? You know.
Oh yeah, listen, it's rough in these streets. I believe honestly, if you want to go far in life, it doesn't matter what your background is, where you come from, you're gonna have to at some point, for lack of a better way of saying it, team up with a spiritual partner. You can either team up with God, or you could team up with his arch nemesis called Satan. Now, I know some people might be like, yeah, but I don't want to really pick any one of them. I'll be like, you have. Because if you're rolling with God, you're rolling with his arch nemesis. Now, for me, I would say I'm rolling with God, and then people be like, okay, so what's the difference between the two? Or should I say some people look at God as a dictator? I'm like, no. In every country, you have laws. If you break the law, you have consequences. It's the same thing with God. God has his laws, the Bible, with his principles on how we should live. If you want to live outside of that, there are consequences. If you want to live within those principles, you also have consequences. So I choose to live within the principles of the Bible and go from there. I know that I don't have to do anything in my strength. I am just a mere human. But I decided to team up with the God of the Bible so that I can evolve, as you would say, dare to evolve in this life in the proper manner.
When did you make that decision? Because, the reason why I'm asking this is that, I said there is no sin bigger than the other. The other day I was saying, man, I go in a shop and my grandmother give me money and I decide to hold the change. I did not give her back a change. I willfully say there's no change because we consider that a sin. Or the fact that I tell a little white lie. We say a little white lie.
Yeah, I don't know why they call it white though.
Sin. There's no sin. We have a tendency of weighing what's the sin that is bigger. And why I say that is that down the line of spirituality, the same. So for those that will talk about universe, or you that will decide God, or Buddha, or whoever it may be, at what point in your life, why did Castel decide that when I speak about spirituality, I speak about evolving my spiritual life, I link it to God and nothing else? It's a personal choice.
Okay, so for me, I don't know exactly when it started, but when I was younger, I wanted to be a Rasta. I thought I would have been a Rastafarian. I still want to go to Ethiopia. That's a dream of mine. So I thought I would have been a Rastafarian. But as I continued to grow, nothing was imposed on me ever from my family, from my parents, ever. Okay. So I started to discover things on my own. And then in my teenage years, I didn't know it at the time, but I was hearing from God. I ain't gonna lie. There was this one time I was in the jump up. It was last lap, rouge et noir.
Yeah.
And I am literally behind the truck and I jam in. And everything just went quiet. And all I heard is, if you die right now, where would you end up? I was like, what? I pull up by Pink Panther. For those who know Pink Panther on the top road, St. James, across from St. James Barbecue. And I pull up there and I could tell you, it's like the band is loud. Everybody's there. It's loud, but I am hearing absolutely nothing. So then I convinced myself, like, Jesus ain't coming back today, so I'm going back in this jam. And that's exactly what I did. I continued. What I would say the triggering moment for me is when one of my good friends, Timmy, which is Pastor Romney's son, he passed away. Yeah, he passed away in 97, Christmas 97, I believe.
I remember that like yesterday.
Oh yeah, listen, I was working in the bakery by Carl & Sons, and I know when he left us the night before, my brother was with him. And I'm getting this news, and in my head it's like, yo, Timmy dead? Quickly I was like, I think Timmy might make it to heaven, but not my brother. So, listen, I'm like, somebody get me home. No, I need to go home. No. And my partner, Tony, we jump in the van and we go into Marigot. I reach home and my brother is not there. So I'm in full panic mode. And my father is like, what's wrong with you? He's like, yo, Timmy is dead. And where is my brother? I need to know where my brother is right now. And he's like, he's down by the barbershop. I did not believe my father. So I went down by the barbershop. And then I found my brother and I was like, okay. And from there, I was like, Castel, you need to make up your mind. What do you believe and who do you believe? And I can honestly say, from then till now, there's nobody that can convince me that God is not real. There is nobody that can tell me that Jesus didn't walk this earth and did all that he did. There is nobody that can tell me that the Holy Spirit is not real.
So, what I grasp in this conversation as well as you speak is that I remember the time where, and we're going to stick on this part. We're going to speak on a spiritual life being the fact of, on the aspect of God.
Yes.
We keep it here. Simple, because like I said, spirituality is wide, very much vague. And when I hear you speak just now, I remember growing up, there was always this will to restore or instill a sense of fear in our people or in ourselves when it comes to God.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm wrong, but what I'm hearing from you and what I'm taking from that is that you were at a time where, you know what, I definitely, when I say fear God, restore the fear of God in the life of our people, which today is actually absent.
It is.
And when I say totally absent, I'm just generalizing. We talk about a white lie just now, or we talk about going a bit off. But at no given time, this fear of saying, I'm going hell, or else I'm going.
Yeah.
And I'm speaking to you, Castel, and we've been in school together, and we've been speaking about that forever. Castel, give me a break.
Yeah.
Truly give me a break, Castel.
Yeah.
I believe in a higher calling. I do believe that there is someone and something in the rims that we need to definitely worship and look up to. I've been always growing up with the word of God and so forth. Don't ask me to spit a bunch of scriptures and a whole yards, because I don't believe that that's where actually this strong faith lies. But to really come back on your intervention, I sense that there was the time of fear, and it's like, I chose not to go hell. Yeah. Can you explain that?
Yes, that is very true. And, you're listening, that's good. Great work. No, but it is true, because I believe, especially back in the day, how we were taught out of fear. So that's what first from most people. But now I don't do that with people. I don't, because I've learned that you can teach somebody out of fear, but at some point they're no longer afraid. Yeah. And if we're talking about fearing God, what it actually means in the Bible is honoring God and putting him in his place. It's not like, oh my God, if I do this, he's going to smite me. Yeah. No, that's not how God works. So that's how it started, but I thank God because I've evolved.
Yes.
I'm no longer there. I don't have to be like, I'm not perfect. I'm going to do something stupid at some point. I might leave here and do something stupid. I might do something stupid in the interview. You understand?
And I would not be shocked.
Yeah, voila. Because it happens. But do I go now and be like, oh my God, this is going to happen to me? No, I've evolved from that, because the Bible tells you, study the word for yourself. Surround yourself with people who can help sharpen you. What we do is that, and I believe slavery played a big role in that, is that, make them afraid so they can jump to this conclusion. No. I'm giving you information so then you can make a decision based on you, not on anybody else. Because at the end of the day, when we got it, all of us are going to face God face to face. He's not going to ask me, so how was the interview with Valerie? He's not going to ask me that.
Not even going to talk about Valerie.
Exactly. He's going to deal with me.
That is something that is very important, and coming down in life in general, being responsible for oneself.
Yes.
At the end of the day, your father, your husband, and you will love. And I know my mom prayed this prayer over and over, and I think a lot of parents said it, the day that they would love to see that they and the household definitely serve the Lord, in the whole 9 yards. And you could only pray and wish for the best. And you could continue instilling all of that knowledge and give them the tools. But at the end of the day, you want to make everyone understand that it's a personal choice.
Of course.
And that's why I said when we talk about spirituality as well, it goes down the line of your personal relationship with life on a whole. Yeah. So it's God, it's whomever you want, but at a given time you have to choose. And I always say that in life, one of the biggest fear that everyone has, people constantly say, I don't have a choice, I don't have a choice.
Yeah, you have a
And I
choice.
will remind you, you have a choice.
Yes,
You're just
you do.
definitely afraid of the consequences of those choices. And
Wow.
that is something that you're not ready to live with. A
Yeah.
lot of people, it's like, oh, Valerie, that's easier said than done because, it's a bed of roses for you. No, it's not.
Nope.
I have to make a choice. I made a choice, but I needed to be mine. And when it becomes comfortable and easy to deal with, when it's my choice. Because if I have to deal with your choice, and live with those consequences that are not even mine, it's complicated. So I'm happy to hear you said that no matter what it may be, it's your choice. You
It is.
made that choice.
Yes.
And something else that I admire, and this again because we know each other on a personal level, that growing up and with the fear of God, but not the fear of, afraid of
Yeah,
God
the
to use me,
respect.
but this give honor where honor is due. You guys decided to do worshiping and the whole 9 yards differently, where many would be like, let's keep it to let me rap, And I was like, they up there rapping, it's like confusing for others that is looking. But again, that was all part of a choice and
Yes.
evolving your spiritual life and making it a personal one, right?
Yes, God is multifaceted. Listen, and again, like you say, when I said earlier before, we were taught in a certain way. When you start to study God for yourself, I believe anybody that goes on the journey of wanting to know who God is, He's going to speak to them. And as I continue to grow and to evolve, I'm like, listen, what I'm seeing here, certain things are not matching up. I know one of my purposes in life is to break traditions, useless traditions. There's so many cliche things or things people do that have no substance.
Example.
For example, I'll get in trouble.
No, go ahead. We're here for the truth, no taboo conversation.
You already know.
Let's go.
Who says when you go to a ministry, we like to say we're going to church, but actually the church gathers on a Sunday. We ain't going to something, we are part of it. Who says we need to start by singing? Maybe somebody somewhere at some point for a certain order, let me start like this way and this way and this way. That's one way of doing it. But who says that's the most effective way of doing it? You don't have to do it that way. And I don't have a problem with it. My problem becomes when, if you don't do it like that, people actually program it's like, oh God ain't gonna move. God is not in this place because y'all didn't sing the song. And are you sing my favorite song? People are now worshiping worship. Yeah. That makes no sense. People are getting into a song because it makes them feel nice and mushy on the inside. And then what? When you leave that church service, what happens later in the afternoon?
But you see, and that's why I said to give an example. So your take is that given it, this is an order. You come in, you see this scripture, we pass on to a prayer, we sing this song.
You sing.
I have a problem when things are programmed. And for those that ain't aware, even this conversation tonight, I said, Castel, there's just 2 pointers. At the end, there's a message I need you to send.
Voilà.
We're going to tackle spiritual life, but I don't have no questions really for you. We're going to
be flowing, man.
And that's what's important, and I think that growing up as well, our younger generation, we don't like to be in a box. We don't like to be in a box. We need to be open-minded and imagine for those children that comes after. I feel for these 2000 children born in 2000 and 2012, my daughter. I feel for that generation 100%.
Listen.
But we already had this open spirit, free spirit, and really did not want to find ourselves in a box. So I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you with down the line that sometimes we lose connection or we miss an opportunity because this is the way it must be done.
Yeah.
And it brings me to, I say in life, we mark ourselves off for the simple fact that we say, they tell me I will grow up, I will learn to creep, I will learn to walk, I will go to school, I will get my diploma, I will buy my house, or else I will find this husband, I will get married, I will have children, and then I will buy this beautiful house.
Yeah.
And because they give you those 8-step or 10-step or stuff to follow, from time you get one before the other.
Yeah. It's like, am I the problem? or is something off? Listen, my daughter is 7. Well, before I say my daughter and Edlin watch this video, our daughter is 7 years old. I am not even imposing my beliefs on her. We are teaching her according to what we believe, and we always tell Zion, you have a choice. You have a choice. And I'm listening to you and I'm like, for those who are coming up, the way how things were done 5, 10, 15 years ago, it's not going to work because you cannot impose. Imposing doesn't work. Listen, when you're talking to somebody, if your main goal is to impose, you already lost them. No. I can talk to at this stage of my life, and again, because I've evolved, I can talk to anybody. Once the disrespect starts, I'm done. Don't talk to me about tolerance or intolerance, because I've had many conversations with people who I've had disagreements with, and it's like, oh, but you're intolerant. But I told you from the jump, I will respect what you say. I don't have to accept it. Me not accepting it does not make me intolerant. I respect your choice. It's just not working for me, big man. You understand?
And then you move on with your beliefs.
Voila.
Again, it takes me back when you had this rude awakening and you made this choice and said, you know what, my spiritual life is going to link definitely to God, and I'm not ashamed of it. I'm going to be loud with it. And trust me, people, he's been loud with it.
Yes,
very, very much loud with it. And that wife of his, God knows. I believe that it is. But was there a time, because then the reason for which I created this platform as well is for that truth.
Yes.
Is there a time where it was like, nah, God, come on, I chose you, but hey, you're not seeing me? No, maybe I need to try to do this
honestly
differently, or a moment of doubt, and how you manage to navigate around it and be like, no, I choose you.
Yeah, I'll honestly say, I've never had a doubt where God and his existence is concerned. Where my issues came from was from my trauma and my insecurities. How I believe it should look, like you say, you are naming out the steps. Now, in my head, it was like, I didn't have the steps. It's just that when I was growing up, I saw certain things and I didn't want that for my life. So I had my own steps. So when my steps didn't go in the order that I thought, I was like, God, there I was like, you ain't seeing me. It's not like he didn't exist, but it's like, you're supposed to make sure that these things come through. And God was like, but you didn't consult me. You had your 8 steps. I didn't give you 8 steps, because in me, I am infinite. I am big. I am eternity. I don't have 8 steps. You go according to what I tell you, because here is just temporal. We have to die and we got to go somewhere. Or even in terms of connecting, I ain't dissing nobody. And this is not me, as they would say, crapping on anybody's belief. I don't do the universe thing. I don't do the ancestors thingy, because in my head it's like, why would I consult a created thing like me? The universe is created. There must be a creator. I don't have time to talk to the universe. Who created the universe? That's who I want to talk to. Where the ancestors are concerned, I'm like, if I have to consult my ancestors, I think life would have been different for a lot of us. Respectfully, like I say, I'm not saying that to crap on anybody, but when I hear certain things, in my head, I'm trying to analyze, like, what does that mean and how does it work for you? Because at the end of the day, I'm going to show you my fruit, you're going to show me your fruit. Something's got to give.
Yeah. Again, it is down the line of one belief. And that's why I said, when we talk about spiritual life, you have to believe in something. And the fact that at a time you say, you know what, it's okay if people disagree. And that's part of it.
That's fine.
Most important is that we respect the disagreement.
Voilà. Yes.
And we agree to disagree, and we move on from there. And I might be learning something from you. You might be learning something from me. And when you leave from here, it's be like, let me think this through. And what is missing is actually, and the Bible said it best as well, that our people fail for the lack of knowledge.
Yes.
And if you're not agreeing with something, don't be judgmental and condemn that person. Go and do your own research, and you know what? We said it just now. At the end of the day, all man for themselves.
Yeah.
Despite Castel, you care as much as you've been back and forth with me.
Yeah.
You would not be able on that glorious day to hold my hand and say,
no,
God, I'm walking in with her. No,
listen.
Everyone for themselves. So, but we must admit that, and that's why I said at a time, and I'm happy you answered that by stating that at no given time you was like, okay, he doesn't really exist. No, but it's like, come on, can we accelerate this process? Because I'm at stage 2, but 5 is coming before, what goes on,
It's
and
like
so
I'm
forth.
25, big man. I ain't married yet.
Let me don't talk about age right now.
Listen, I'm just saying when I was.
You see, that now, I mean, at a given time, if you're not strong-minded, you know, already being a Christian and showing your colors, whatever colors it may be. Like we said, universe, we said, even being a Rasta, choosing a religion, because there's spiritual and there's religion and so forth.
That is true.
You have to be able to do the part of it. That's why I said this evening, we choose to stick on this part because I'm speaking to you, and that's the lifestyle that you run.
I live, yeah.
And sometimes it comes, yeah, man, Castel, you're not really living, you're not this, the pure pressure. And how did you go along with handling that pure pressure? Because sometimes you just want to fit in. You just want to, but how did that work out for you?
Listen, this story might make some people laugh, but this was another pivotal moment for me in my life. So, you know, like I told you, after Timmy died, you know, saw my brother, I was at peace, and I like, okay, let me make up my mind. I think that was like early 98. No, 97, I would think. Yeah, anyways, after the death. So I'm like, I'm doing this, you know. One thing I thought I wouldn't be able to resist was Carnival. Listen, I tell people if I wasn't a Christian, I would be on both Carnival committees. I was in everything. I used to meet the truck before they start. I got to be a Youth Wave truck. Anywho, Frontside Carnival passed, tranquille. I resisted. Went down the road once, saw the parade. I was like, nothing. Then that side Carnival came aboard. I don't know what got into me. And I was like, I got to get to town. Listen, I got to see the parade. And I'm hunting down my grandmother's house looking for $3 because it's $150 to go, $150 to come back. I don't need to eat. I just need to reach in town. Anyways, I make it to town. I meet a partner of mine. He gave me $5. He's like, hold on, man, Castel. I was like, sweet, hot dog and a soda. I good. Walk into the village. Saw my neighbor. Oh, boy, he let me have it. He's like, but Osa, because that's why they call me St. James. He's like, Osa, you say you can be a Christian? What are you doing in here? Listen, this dude light me up. And that's one of the best things that ever happened to me. Because now...
You're confronted with...
I'm confronted with truth. It's like, what are you going to do? Because, you know, you're starting to tell people a certain thing, that you live in a certain way, and then now you're kind of doing the opposite. And that's one of the key moments I would say that triggered me to like, let's do this. Has life been perfect? No, listen, I mess up so much. But I tell people, all my worst mistakes, yes, people, that's a word in St. Martin. All my worst mistakes is as a Christian, as a believer, as a kingdom citizen. Because in my head, after that, you know, my neighbor liked me up, I was like, okay, is that you're all in or you're all out? And because of that, even after my many mistakes, I'm not letting go of God because he never lets go of me. So while we are looking at us, there's a bigger picture, there's the bigger scheme of things, and we have to find ourselves in that story. So you have to know where you're positioned. So I don't get caught up in the fall. I just make sure I get up.
You know, there is so many things that, just like in general, whether it's politics, whether it's whatever it may be, there's always some story and something that will make you turn away from, I don't like politicians, I don't like Christians, and I don't like this one, and I don't like that one, because you have your own belief. Down the line of being a Christian, going to church, you said there's all of these chapters and all of these step to the pure pressure. And you know something that I never understand, never understand. And since we going down in the reality of it, it will be paying your tithes.
Hey, hola, chita.
You choose to talk about God.
Yeah. Let's go. I don't have a problem with going there.
The thing is, you will have the big debate you will get on the outside, like, yeah, but Where in the Bible tell me I need to pay tithes? Where in the Bible, why I get this back? And if I don't pay this, then 10%. You know, it's 10%, Castel.
Yeah.
And, you know, you just get your first job. Let's say you got a sneaker.
Yeah.
1,100 euros. I need to give 10%, 110 euros. And then my rent is 900. What will happen? God ain't seen that. I need to eat. And where this money going and what we're doing, you know, just in a nutshell. How paying tithes or going down the line of respecting that religion been challenging for you, or even a belief for you, or advice to others, or even how would you tackle that conversation they've come across?
They're gonna stone me. I don't believe in paying tithes. I don't.
Ouch.
I don't. I
No, I need to understand. No,
I don't.
I need to understand.
Yeah. So let me explain. So
My mother is about to just sit up in her chair like this for you now,
listen, I can see all the pastors like, you better shut your mouth. I don't believe in paying tithes. Honestly, I've studied it, and I challenge anybody who's watching right now, put it in the comments, and do not give me the one that says that he's going to fill up the storeroom and my blessing will be coming out through the window. What happened to the door? I'm just saying. So where tithes is concerned,
Yes.
well, I believe I didn't complete my answer for your first one with the peer pressure.
Yeah.
Peer pressure is real. It exists, but the more you find out who you are in Christ, the less impact it has on you. So that was to finish that. So where tithing is concerned, I personally believe that it was put in place so that the church would have a regular flow of cash because it got things to get paid. And I don't have I don't have a problem with that. However, how it's being taught is my issue. You're telling people that if they do not pay this 10%, they're not going to be blessed, and you know things ain't going to happen for them, and they're robbing God. Honestly, let's read that text in context. There's at least 5 or 6 different tithes in the Old Testament, and all of them had different meaning. People like to go back to when Abraham tithed and with Melchizedek. It's not even the same thing to do with what you find in Malachi. C'est pas la même chose. Sorry, I gone French. But yeah, you know, people take these scriptures, and again, because there needs to be a cash flow in the ministry, we're gonna impose this. No, Jesus told everybody and their mama in the New Testament, you can give what you want, but if it doesn't come from the heart, it means absolutely nothing. And the lady who gave the smallest, that was her last centime. He was like, you see that lady over there? She gave the most money. His disciple is watching him like, what are you talking about, big man? Yeah, because she gave out of what she didn't have.
Okay.
Somebody can give you $10 billion, I said billion dollars, and I'll take it, thank you in advance. But that could mean absolutely nothing to them because they have maybe X amount of whatever trillions of dollars. It means nothing to them. So if you're not giving out of your heart, how exactly are you giving? And if you're giving forcefully, c'est la même chose. You're not giving it willingly. How they handle things in the New Testament, it was the village mentality. Valerie lacking this, I'm going to give that to her. Valerie checking here, you know, this person lacking this, I'm going to give it to them. So everybody in the community never went without. It wasn't about how much was given. It was about meeting the lack of the other person.
You see, and every conversation, I think I will have that all the time. You'll be like, we need way more time for these conversations. Way more time for these conversations. But when I look at you today and I hear you speak, there's this sense of great confidence, you know, reassurance. And if I die today, I can honestly say I had a wonderful life. I can sing. But when I hear you speak, I'm getting that feeling of, you know what, people, you can't move me. I made this choice. I'm going to the end of it. And only when I get at that door or that gate or that sliding door, we will know. And what I want you to hit on for me is, because we have to admit that everyone is not where you at today.
No.
And you definitely started somewhere.
Definitely.
But where did Castel definitely, I mean, you expressed the fact that there was a rude awakening and,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you had your first encounter. It was like, I know, no, I need to make up my mind.
Mm-hmm.
How to get to a level of, you know what, self-confidence, making a choice and sticking with it. How to get to this person that I'm seeing
Yeah.
that didn't too much change from school.
One thing that c'est primordial, comme on dit en français. It's you have to. Who are you? Who are you? Why are you here? Those are important questions to answer because they will help guide your life. I didn't always know, what I wanted, but I definitely know what I didn't want.
Yeah.
I only knew 3 things that I wanted. I didn't want to take public transportation because I like to get where I'm getting to. I did not want to, have children or a child out of wedlock. And that just because when I was growing up, I would see the men around me who would have, according to a friend of mine, you got to buy three cornflakes box because you got children everywhere. I didn't want that. And I don't look at people funny who, it happened to because we don't always know.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be off on weekends. And that was before I became a Christian. I just wanted to be off on weekends so I could go clubbing. It just happened that before I actually got a job where I was off on weekends, I was already a Christian, so no clubbing for me.
But you what you wanted.
Those are the only 3 things I knew I wanted. And I used that to guide me. And as I said, I don't usually say this. I've seen God literally spare my life. I nearly died 4 to 5 times. One of the times when I nearly died, I was probably 5 or 6. We were on Pirate Beach, and this wave just came over and just went over me, put me in the water. While I'm in the water, I'm in a bubble. Water is not touching me. It's like I was back in my mom's womb, and I'm watching the waves crashing above me. And of course, I'm 5 or 6, so I'm just like, this is weird. And then my father's arm just came and grabbed me out of the water. I say these things just to say that, oh yeah, that's a miracle there. I don't use these things just to impress people. I tell people these things to let them know that you cannot give me as a rational reasoning of how that happened to me. Because if I'm underwater, I'm underwater. I cannot be in a bubble underwater. But besides that is as you grow, when you know who you are, why you are, you start to make decisions. Okay, you know what? I don't know everything, but I don't want this. But I do want this. How do I get here?
Principles.
Of course. And then it's like, okay, what is this for? Because I'm going to this ministry. I'm seeing this and this and this happening. Why do we do this? You have to ask questions. People like to say, that's the only way I can say this is a black people thing. We like to tell our children, you're asking too much questions, hush your mouth. You know what? Ellen, when she went to England for school, one of the things that stayed with her is when she told me, she said, bye, babes. I was in England and people just be asking me questions. And after a while, in her head, is like, but why are they asking me so many questions? And she realized they're asking questions because they want to know something. They're trying to get somewhere. Yeah. But in our community, we're closed. And it's like, no, you get nowhere. You have to ask questions. And you're going to get answers. And once you get those answers, you get to where I'm at now. Because I don't depend on other humans to tell me how things work. I believe God would use another human to answer me if he chooses to go that road. But I have spoken to God, and God has answered me. And I know it sounds weird, and it sounds spooky, but it is real. Another defining moment for me is I was going through a bad breakup. As we would say in St. Martin, I'm a little gopwell. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, good callot.
So that was not callot. That was a good cloud, a thump, like. And while I was going through all of that, I'm like, man, I invested 4 years of my life into this relationship, and for what? Even though I knew from the jump I didn't have to be in that relationship. You understand? However, while I'm going through it, I'm praying to God, and I'm like, you know, one of these days I'm going to get up and this won't even bother me. That day came, but just before that day came, I was praying and I was like, you know what? I good. God, if it's me and you alone for the rest of my life, I'm good. I literally heard God say it, and it gets me emotional. I love you. And I just responded back, I love you too.
Yeah.
You could only get there when you've completely
Yeah.
committed yourself to Him.
Yeah.
And again, this is how you get here, because you learn to depend on Him. You learn to draw from Him. It's like God is going to tell you things that's going to make you uncomfortable. You're going to make you feel weird. You're going to be awkward. It's like, how do I do this? Because people are going to look at me funny or whatever. But ultimately, He knows your whole life. So if God is telling you to do something, it might look dumb to somebody, but ultimately it works for your good.
But you know, it takes a lot out of someone. And as we are winding down in this episode, throughout everything that you said, again, there's a lot of stuff, and I'm a very good listener. You can tell him I was a very good student as well.
Yes,
Good. Good.
she was.
Yes.
And she still is.
Big up to Terminal MCO. Huh? You know, it is that the fact that you made a choice to lose the crowd.
Yes.
And that is something that is hard, but it's a choice, and a choice that was necessary.
Very necessary.
And losing the crowd is something that you did. So, Castel, I'm going to ask you, now at this time of your life, as much as you're rooted and grounded, still facing a lot of challenges, but because you know who you are, where you want to go, and of whom you are, you're comfortable making those decisions. But at this point of your life, what are you daring to evolve?
I am daring to evolve in redeeming my time effectively. We probably think that we have this X amount of time. No, redeem your time effectively, and I dare you to evolve in redeeming your time.
Thank you very much for this, Castel. And
It's
again,
a pleasure.
this is what the platform is all about. And on this note, and in everything that we said tonight, I hope that we hold on to the fact that in life, despite whatever life may throw at you, no matter how things might look, you always have a choice. But the scare in that choice is actually the consequences that comes with it. So my advice to you is definitely make that choice yours, because at the end of the day, the consequences are yours to face. Thank you, and we're out. Good job.
Good to go.